can see the whole process of what we do almost. Obviously, it's a super simplified version, but the initial data set probably. So you can see the output of that process.
Hello everyone and welcome to Makeover Monday Week 32. Watching this week we're looking at monthly mortality rates in England and Wales. Sorry for the last minute schedule here, but I've had a busy weekend and a busy week coming up, so I'm just finding a quick time slot where I can work on this. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start by looking at the original visualization, and you can see it here on the screen. You can see that it looks like we have data by month, and it goes back to June 2001 until let's say June of 2021, right? So, and it looks like it gives data for every June, so it's not monthly data actually. It looks like it's, at least in this view, it's yearly data. Even though it says mortality rates, it says mortality rates for the month of June. Okay, so that makes sense then. So the title's pretty clear. It's more descriptive than I would probably do, but yeah, I think it's clear, telling us what the analysis of the visualization is. The thing that confuses me the most is these dashed lines, because usually when I see a dashed line, at least for me, I think it's more like a reference line. Maybe that's just because I'm used to Tableau. But using the dashed line to separate males from females, or sorry, not from males from females. The solid lines mean England, and the dashed lines mean Wales. I probably would have used maybe the same color for England and the same color for Wales. So I would be using maybe the dark blue for males in England and the males in Wales, and then maybe the dashed lines for the females or something like that. But overall, it's okay. I don't think it's too bad. It's got really nice interactivity. I like the tooltips are super responsive, and yeah.
Your presentation was fine. I probably wouldn't have done the beginning bit, but mainly it's communication between the two of you. The fact that you haven't yet in place of events that you know, the world hasn't stopped turning. So I've actually got some decent feedback from some of the people I've spoken to.
Okay, sorry about the. Okay, sorry about the noise in the background. Please let me know if that's better. It's going to be actually hard for me to see your comments now because I am. Yeah, so somebody was having a chat in the background, so hopefully that works better now. But I'm now on a single screen. Normally I'm on the double screen. So let's just see how this goes. But if somebody could verify that it sounds better now, it should. Okay. So again, the data set here, we can see as we hover over, it's really interactive. I think that part's pretty good. So the data itself is structured like this, so it looks like it is only June's. So I might end up changing that maybe just into a year. But I think, let me try and see what happens if I just change that to a date. So yeah, so that works well. So it now says June 1st of 2021, 22, etc. I then have my 4 data points, my 4 columns. So I'm going to actually pivot those. And now you can see I've got females England, females Wales, etc. And I'm now going to take this column and I'm going to go ahead and split them. So now I can go ahead and hide this one. And I'm going to call this gender. And I'm going to call this one location. And then this one would be, this is our mortality rate. All right, and our mortality rate is, it looks like it is per 100,000 people. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So let's just build a couple things real quick. So I'm going to start by just bringing in the period. It looks like we've got year. I'm going to bring in the mortality rate and gender on color and maybe location. I'm going to put location on detail and then add that to color as well. So now we can see a similar view to the original visualization. So I've got the males in Wales and the males in England both as orange fields instead of the dashed line here. So I think that looks okay. And then the females the other way. If I wanted to switch these around, I could just drag gender below location. And now I'm comparing the males and the females within England. So you can see males have a higher mortality rate than females. So it really depends on which way you want to display the data. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to switch that around, and I'm going to duplicate. So I'm going to call this one month by gender and location. And then I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to call this one month by location gender. So this one's going to just be where I have them switched around the other direction. Okay, so what other views could I build? So I'm going to put the period in here, and then maybe the gender and the location. And I'm going to build it out into the heat map. So I'm going to put mortality rate on the view and choose fit width. Oops, sorry, fit width. And we can see that the mortality rate for males in England and Wales was a lot higher in the early 2000s, and now it's getting better, which is good, I suppose. I can switch this around, and now I'm comparing the males and the females. So you can see between England, males and females in England, the male rate is much higher than the females. Okay, so let's call this one our heat map. Let me make sure you can hear me better now. Okay, definitely better. Okay. I'm not sure why I have an echo. I'm just going to have to keep going here. I don't think I have a room that I can go into. Give me 1 second. I will try one other location in the office. Okay, hopefully that's better for you now. Yeah, okay, so sorry about all the distractions. Let me know if that works better for you now. It should. Okay, so I've now got that view. That is my heat map. Let's see what other ways we could look at this. So if we want to, let's say we have the period and the location. I'm going to put the mortality rate on rows and maybe the gender on color. And we see them kind of stacked on top of each other, but if I put the location here, yes, there's two different ways. So this doesn't look too bad. So I've got England and Wales, and I've got males and females. Maybe I could label the ends of the lines, which is okay. But I think I want to have little dots on the ends of the lines as well. So I'm going to choose this min-max option, and I'm going to choose year in my field. And you see it now gives me these little dots on the ends of the line. So I'm going to put mortality rate onto label, and now we can see that. So, and again, the data is per 100,000. So I'm going to actually just round my data. So I'm going to choose the number format for mortality rate and set it to no decimal places. That way it just rounds everything nice and neat. Okay. So that doesn't look too bad. So one thing I could do here then is let me duplicate this sheet, and I'm gonna let's see. I'm gonna create a calculated field that's just males. So no, sorry, just females. And I'm going to say if gender equals females, then I want to bring back the mortality rate. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put females as a dual axis chart and synchronize. Okay. I'm going to actually go to the all marks card. Now Tableau's automatically put measure names on color, so I'm going to take that off. And then on my female shelf, I'm going to make this an area chart. And then, no, that's not quite what I wanted to do. That's not right. What I wanted to do was shade in between the two. So let me see here. Okay, so let me try something else. Let me duplicate this field. Edit, let's call this one males. Males. Sorry, it's a bit noisy outside today. And I'm going to put males on top of this axis. And I'm going to move measure names to color on the area chart. Okay, and let me synchronize again. And then on the area chart, I want to analysis stack. I want to turn the stack marks off. And you'll notice now my females is really dark here, so I'm going to change this color to be white, which I think is, I always get this backwards. Is it all F's? There we go. Okay, and the males, I want to leave it at orange, and I'm going to set this opacity up to 100%. There we go. So now I can see the difference between the males and the females. But I don't like how that looks. That looks pretty terrible, actually. Yes, that doesn't work very well. Okay, that's fine. Let's try maybe, what if I try gender on, let's try this way. So here I did by location, and then gender is on color, but if I do it the other way around, location on color, mortality rate, I see it like that instead. So now the colors are England and Wales, so you can see the rate for Wales is higher than the rate for England. Okay, so let's try a couple more things here. So we'll look at the period again, and let's put mortality rate in the view, and let's put maybe gender on color, and again split it up by location. So what I want to do now is calculate the difference between the males and the females. So in other words, kind of calculate how much, what is the mortality rate difference. So I can create this as a calculated field. So I'm going to do a percent, so percent difference from, table down. So we want to go down the view, so I want to relative to, so gender relative to gender. Sorry, no, deepest relative to, that's not right. So I want to do it for each location relative to year, relative to males. Okay, or let's say relative to females. So this is now telling us the, this can't be right. So what I was trying to do was I was trying to take these numbers. So let's see, we got gender, males in, sorry, no, it's this one. So my males in Wales, or sorry, I'm trying to compare my genders. So I want to show the mortality rate difference between men and women in England and Wales. So this is telling me that maybe I should make it just a difference from. Okay, why is this too table calc. Oh no, difference from. Sorry about that. So this means out of every 100,000 people, 450 men are more likely to die than women. But I think that's very difficult to explain. So I'm going to scrap that idea. Okay, so let's again look at period and entire view. Actually, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change this to be converted to continuous. That way I can just, there we go. And I want to put mortality rate here. And let's see, what if we did some little spark lines maybe? So this splits it out into 4 different marks. And let's do standard. And I want to just shrink these up to maybe 4 little spark lines. Okay, maybe location goes on to color. And let's untick include 0. Maybe put location back. Let's see. Gender on color. Okay, so that gives us little spark lines, which isn't very helpful. All right, that's okay. So let's go period again, mortality rate, gender, location, and I'm going to look at the change between. So let's add a table calc. Difference percent, difference from, percent difference from table across, and I want to compare to the 2001. So how has the mortality rate changed since 2001? But I wonder if it should just be, so I made a table calc. I think it should just be a difference from. Okay, so the mortality rate has gone down since 2000 and since 2001. So over the last 20 years, it's declined quite a bit, which is good. What else do we have here? So could somebody on the chat please tell me if you still hear an echo? That'd be great. I know Hugo and Shivankar, you both were hearing an echo, so if you could let me know, that'd be great. Okay, what else could we do here? Let's try period again. And I'm going to filter down to just 2001 and 2021. And I'll just make this discrete, doesn't matter. And I want to put mortality rate in the view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a slope graph. And I want to put gender on color and location on detail, and then location on color. So this is my slope graph. I switch it around. Okay. Again, nothing particularly useful. Okay, so let's duplicate this sheet and let's change it to an area chart. Area chart. And let's turn stack marks off. Okay, let's put the females wrong way around. Okay, what's that? It's not particularly good, is it? Okay, so let's try something then. I don't particularly like this, but let's try just putting, so males mortality, okay, let's put males here, and the females is going to go blank, which is fine. And I'm going to put females on the dual axis, but females I'm going to make a line. So let's see, I want to take measure names off of the view, and I'm going to make males maybe some kind of gray, and female. Okay, so let's synchronize the axis. There you go. So now this is just another way to kind of show the difference between the two. Let's do analysis. Where is it? Worksheet, clear, magnetizing. Okay, so that's what it would look like. Let's make this discrete. And shrink it up a bit. Okay. Again, I'm not sure that I love it. So location. All right. So again, what do we have here? So what other graphs do we have here? So this is comparing. Okay, so maybe we could try a bar next to a bar and see how that looks. So let's try. Let's make this continuous here, discrete. So let's put this here. And this one looks at, so England and Wales is the color. Location, the bar, and then gender here. And then I want to put location here as well. Nope, wrong way around. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to put, I want to have England and Wales next to each other. But I want it to be, there we go, like that. So England and Wales 2001. Okay. Okay, it's still echoing. Okay, let me try to disconnect my headphones. Give me 1 second. Okay, let me know if that's better now. Hopefully it's better. Okay, still working. I think it was picking up my mic twice, so hopefully it's okay now. So we have we've got our gender. So we've kind of rebuilt this visualization from another one of their charts. It's not great though. What if I change it to a line? Take location off, and then let's move year to detail. Okay, that's not going to work either. Okay. Okay, great. Thanks, Masid, for the feedback there. So still nothing particularly interesting to me. Let's see if they have anything else. So that's just bar charts. Okay. So the heat map doesn't really work very well. Okay, I'm going to maybe go to one of my resources here and see what kind of charts we could use. So let's go to chart guide. And I'll put links to these resources in the description for the video. Okay, so let's charts. We want to look at time or trend. Okay. That didn't seem to work. Let's try again. Choose a chart. Oh, it looks like it's just going a bit slow. Okay. So we've got a deviation chart. So how can we do a deviation here? So I think I did something here where I did the difference. So a deviation chart in this case might be no, I think the difference between male and female would work. So deviation bar column chart. So let's see how we can do that. Let's do a period. And we know we want the, let's do let's do deviation, and let's just do females minus males. And drag that into the view. And I'm getting all nulls. Yeah, so I think that's because I need gender in the view. Nope. Okay, so deviation, edit. So I want to see some females. It's because I'm returning a null here. Okay, so let's try this a different way. Let's put mortality rate, gender, and I want to do add table calc difference from for each year by gender relative to females. Okay, so let's add this as a bar, and then we want to put location. Let's put location up here. Okay, so now this is looking at, this has a border on it as well, so let's get rid of the border. Okay, and put location on color. So this is looking at, so as far as the deviation bar, it's looking at how many more men per 100,000 die versus women. I think that's the best way to say it. Let's see, so it's mortality rates, monthly rates are interval and are adjusted. Figures are deaths registered rather than deaths occurring in each period. Okay. Okay. So this is deaths registered. So we could see there's 448 more deaths registered for males than females per 100,000. Okay, so let's change that then into a, I think I did the same chart before, percent difference. So there are 47%, it's 47% higher for males versus females. So let's see, males versus females, England, Wales, okay. There we go. So 40, so we got 952, 1400, yes, that's about 47%. Okay, so that kind of takes this chart and turns it into a bar chart, but it's still very hard. I find it very hard to look at, just because these are so squished next to each other. Okay, so let's try it the other way around. Let's compare the locations. Let's put the period here, the mortality rate. We want to put the gender on color this time. Location, yep. And we want to put location in the rows. Is that right? So location, oh, sorry, no. We did location there. So we want gender here. I want location and color. Okay, so location, location. Okay, so we want to add the table calc. So what I'm trying to do now is compare England to Wales. So we want to do for each period. We want to do at the level. No, we want to do it for each. So by gender compared to. No, we want to do it the other way around. We want to do it by location compared to England. Okay, is that right now? So if we turn that into a bar, so this is telling us how much more likely, okay, so 2002, yeah, so that's this mark here. Okay, so this is our mortality rate. So let's put that onto detail and put gender onto color. Okay, so this is, So this is telling us the mortality rate, how much more likely somebody in Wales is to die versus England. So this would be Wales versus England. And this would be male versus female. Okay, so that's a deviation bar chart. We could make this a line as well, but I don't find that particularly useful. So let's go back to our trend here. We've got our spark lines, cycle plot we can't do, a dot plot. Would a dot plot be useful here? So to do a dot plot, okay, so let's do period again, and let's put location on rows, mortality rate on rows, and gender on color. And I want to make these dots. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it like that, make this one a line, and I'm going to connect them by gender. There we go. So let's now make this a dual axis and synchronize. And let's move that one to the back. Okay, so entire view. We can now change the size of our circles to be smaller and make this one larger. Okay, and now we can see, kind of one inside the other. So this is a way to kind of show the variance between them. So if I make that like a lighter gray, we can see that a bit better. So this is males versus females. You can do the same thing with England and Wales. Maybe I'll move the location up here. Not sure, which method works better. What if I flip it around? So now the time is going down the view, which may work a bit better. This allows us to compare. Okay, maybe we're onto something here. Let's move that up a bit. Okay, let's put a border on these. All right. So if I go back to, one of my charts, so if I look at, if I'm comparing males and females in England, okay, let me duplicate this sheet, and I'm going to look at just England for now, just to get it set in my head. So the difference here was 952. So what was that? Where was that? Male versus female England. So let's do keep only here. And you can see that the gap is shrinking. So if we make that a line, okay. So the gap is definitely shrinking. Okay. Kind of struggling for ideas here today, if you can't tell. Okay, let's go back and let's look at maybe the categorical data. Let's see if there's anything that will give us any information here. So bar chart, grouped bars. Okay, we've done most of these things, stacked bars. So the floating bar chart we could probably do. That would be, let's duplicate this sheet. And we need to get rid of that line. And let's make these Gantt bar. No, Gantt bar. And I want to just draw a bar between these two. So that would be, so I'm going to put that on. So I need to have what, females here. And then I want to calculate the difference between the two. So deviation onto size. Let's see if that works. No, that's not going to do it. Okay, so mortality rate says size. Let's put mortality rate on size. And we want to, so we don't need gender. Let's add, let's see, no, we do need a gender. So let's add a table calc. Difference from table across. Okay, so we want to compare relative to location, gender, relative to, no, one way around again, gender, relative to females, relative to males. Why is that not working? There we go. So that's going the wrong direction though, I think. So let's duplicate, let's make that a dual axis and synchronize. Okay, so that's going the wrong direction. So I need to edit this table calc and switch the gender around. Here, that's going blank. That's fine. So let me put male up here then. And then edit the table calc again. Yes. Huh. Okay, so something's wrong with my calculation. Okay, that's all right. I'm just not going to bother with this one. So let's delete that. What else do we have in the view here? Parallel coordinates won't really work. Shoot, there was another view that I had in my head, but now I can't think about it. So we've got this. We've got the mortality rate. Yeah, so I mean, something is, I mean, this is just automatically simpler. Match the mark color. But again, if I make this that percent change, where did I do that one? So this one has location on columns, gender on color. Yeah, so this is my difference in mortality rate. So let's edit the table calc and again make this a percent difference from England and Wales. Okay, so let's hide females. It gets rid of that blue line. Let's move it to detail, and let's put location on the color. Okay, so that doesn't work. Okay, let's try again. So let's look at, let's say mortality rate on text, location, gender. Okay, and let's put gender onto text as well. And let's edit this. So let's say okay, let's make this a nice big number. And this is per, so this is, there's that chart. Okay, so this is mortality rate, okay. So this is registered, the deaths. So let's make that 10 point, that 10 point. That doesn't look very good. Because it repeats that everywhere. I'm just trying to show so that would be this chart, which I think I've done already here. England, Wales. Okay. So I'm just going to throw a dashboard together. This isn't what I'm going to end up using, but oops, let me just throw in the title, short title, and I'm wondering how this will look. So let's go, I think it's this one. That one. And if I put my big numbers in here, so England, Wales, this one is colored by gender. Okay, so this one needs to be colored by gender and not location. Right. Okay. So this is our most recent mortality rate. Okay. I'm just renaming these because I like them to be in uppercase. Okay, I think this one looked better this way, didn't it? Females, males. Okay. So what is this really telling us? Okay. Okay, so what is this? This is basically just a report. Oh, okay, so I'm going to go back to the original article, and they had some key findings at the top here. There are 38,000 deaths registered in England, 310 deaths, more than June 5-year average. 38,000 deaths registered in England. How can that be right? Oh, because this is a mortality rate. Okay. And I'm putting the males to the left of the females because the orange line is always above the the cause of death was that coronavirus, age. Okay, the regions. We don't have region information. 38,611 deaths registered in June 2020. Okay, so what I could do here is so I'm going to look at this. I want to give these numbers a bit of context. So I'm going to include 2020 and put the period here. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put mortality rate here, and I'm going to add a table calc. And so here they're saying it was 8%. Okay, so I want to compare it to difference from, percent difference from. I want to do it for each gender. I want to compare the years. Okay, relative to 2020. So that should give me, so let's put that onto label as well. So that would be 4% higher. Okay, December, this was 1,275 fewer deaths than in June 2020. Okay, so what happened here? So 2020 is 1031. So it should have gone down. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this as a table. And I want to look at this as add a table calc. I'm going to go percent difference from table down. But no, that's not how I want to do it. I want to put location and gender. Okay, so let's add a table calc. So this will go pane down. So 0.8, okay. So again, if I look at the data here, I'm doing something wrong with my calculation. Edit table calc. Percent difference from. So I want to compare everything to 2020. Oh, okay, there we go. So how is this configured now? Edit table calc. Year is unchecked, gender, location, 2020. Okay. Edit table calc. Gender year relative to 2020. Okay, there we go. So now that's working. So now I can hide 2020 and move the year to detail. All right, so let's format this. Let's make it a percentage to 1 decimal. And now I'm going to customize my tooltip, or no, not my tooltip. I'm going to turn my tooltip off actually. And then my text, I'm going to say it's versus in, what does it say, 2020. I just don't like how that says versus 2020 everywhere. But if I show the header on this, then maybe I don't need to have male and female in the tooltip. Okay, let's try that. So minus 4.2%. Okay, so I think that matches up with what's here. In England, the June mortality rate is significantly lower than. Okay. Okay. So maybe let's just go with something like that, super simple. So I'm going to start building this dashboard over again. Actually, I'm not going to bother. Normally I would put this in containers and everything. Actually, I probably should because it's going to bother me if I don't. Okay. Oops. So I'm going to just clear this dashboard. Let's see, how do I clear it? Okay, so there should be nothing in the layout, so I'm going to just drag in a container. And let's set that to 00, 1800. And let's bring in a text box. So let's call this England and Wales. So this goes from 2001, I think. Let's look at this again. Where's it go here? Where's the chart I'm looking for? Okay, so this goes from 2001 to 2020. Okay, let's make this maybe 18 point. Let's make it black, maybe 20 point. Okay, and then we could say something like, okay, let's make this maybe 12. Mortality rates. For June 2021, or mortality rates were lower in period to June 2020 for males and females in England and in both England and Wales. Is that too okay? Okay, so maybe we could then say okay here. And then on this, I'm going to need to put some padding on this. Inner padding is about 20. I'm going to put a blank in here. Let's make that 10. Let's lay it out. Make that black. Sorry, there's people having drinks here at work. Let's go to blank. And let's set this to 10. And let's set the bottom to 10. Okay, just give myself a bit of space. Let's now put our big numbers in here. Okay. And let's put our other chart, this one, here. Okay. Let's make this 12. Okay, let's edit the height. Let's make this maybe 125. No, edit height. Let's make it like 175. Okay, there we go. That's better. All right, so let's come up with some better colors then. Oh, I better save. Okay, Makeover Monday, 2021, week 32. Mortality rates in England and Wales. Come on. Okay, so Thum Chandra, which chart are you going to replicate tomorrow? I'm curious. Okay, so let's go to the layout. Let's remove this. Okay, so now we've got something a bit cleaner. I think on this chart, let's format the borders, and let's get rid of the row. Let's get rid of the column dividers. Let's leave that. I want to get rid of the row dividers. Okay, so that's okay. And let's pick a couple colors for the males and the females. Okay, so let's choose different colors. Let's try, let's see. Let's see what watch me those colors we have. We've got okay, let's try this now. Okay, it's a bit softer. Let's see. Okay, I gotta rewrite this. Mortality rates decreased for both men and women in 2021. But in 2021, mortality rates decreased for both men and women in England and Wales compared to 2020. Let's try that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Okay, so then we see males, females. Okay, so let's edit this axis. Let's get rid of the title. Okay, so there's no tooltip here. Okay, so on this sheet, we need to clean up the tooltips. And we've got gender, location. Okay. Okay. Oh, I probably should say per 100 per 100,000. So let's make that like a lighter gray. And let's make that less bold, and let's make it maybe 10. So we should say deaths per 100,000. Okay, there we go, that's better. Okay. Get the save. So what I need to do now is get everything to align nice and neat. Come on. Okay, so on this sheet, I'm going to put in a dummy axis here. Okay, let's make this text. Okay, format. Let's get rid of the 0 lines. Okay, let's go back to the sheet. So now I can make these line up nice and neat and edit this axis. Get rid of the title. Okay. Okay, let's close that. And my grid lines, turn them off. And then I'm going to format this to be right. Okay, so I've done this just to make sure that they can all be the same size. Okay, and I'm going to go back into the sheet. Let's rename this. Mortality rate per 100,000. Okay, so let's hide the title. And I probably could hide this title. Oops. Uncheck show header. Oops, darn it. Let's uncheck show header. And let's see. I think and then let's make this bold, and let's make it the, I think it's that men are blue, so women should be bold, and color, and then should be this blue, I think. Okay, and then maybe on this sheet, I think if I put, so analysis, I want my males and females up at the top, and I'm pretty sure I can go to table layout advanced and uncheck that option, and there we go. That moves them up to the top. Okay. And that, okay. Okay. Now let's edit the height. 160. I'm just trying to get the numbers closer to the gender. Okay, let's go back here then. Let's make the numbers bigger. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of my padding at the top. And this one, I'm going to get rid of my padding at the bottom. And now everything should line up nice and neat. I'm going to format this one again and get rid of my row dividers. Okay. And I'm also going to get rid of the grid lines. Oh, no grid lines. Okay, so I'm going to make this a bit bigger. And then format. And let's make this bold. And maybe bigger. And maybe 12. Maybe 14. Okay, there we go. So now I can see England and Wales. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So let me go ahead and put the caption on here. So my data source is the OS created by Andy Preview, as Liz. Yeah, let's make. I like making these lighter so that they don't really shout at anybody. And let me actually put that down one line to move it to the bottom a bit more. Okay, so and then this axis, I think it probably, let's edit the axis. I wonder if it'd be better to make it every, maybe every, this would look like if we do every 500. 250. Probably 500. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so now I guess the last question is, do I change this to show the min and the max automatic? What does that change? That shows us where the min and the max were, but that doesn't work very well. Let's change the font to white. Because now, what does it look like now if I just have the dots on the end? Okay. Because I have the big numbers here, I guess my question is, do I need the numbers on the ends of the lines if I have the numbers here? So let's change the font to white. Okay, I think maybe I'll go with that instead. Okay, so we've got, let's do one more set of formatting here. I'm going to my column dividers, I'm just going to make those a lighter gray. Let's do this one. Okay. All right, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, thanks. I know it's nothing earth shattering, but I hope you found that useful. And yeah, thanks for your attention today. Sorry about the hiccups at the beginning, but yeah, thank you very much. Everybody, have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye.